Rifling is described as commands and grooves on the inside of the barrel of a modern firearm, which imparts a spin to the bullet and increases its accuracy over long range.
Before the invention of rifling, there were only smoothbore firearms. It is estimated that the first firearms came about in the 1400s. By the late 1500s, these firearms were more commonly used in battles due to their being more effective than other weapons. Despite their power, they had a very short range, were inaccurate, and were very heavy. By the 1600s, guns were still in a very primitive state. The smoothbore weapon shot spherical bullets, which were loaded through the muzzle. The ball would literally bounce around the barrel on its way out, leading to terrible accuracy. A soldier firing this weapon would never be sure of hitting his target, having been trained that firing at the ground in front of an enemy was actually more accurate than firing right at them. The only way for this weapon to really be effective was to have a large number of soldiers fire them at once.
During the Civil War, the military went from using smoothbore muskets to rifled ones. These new guns had a range of 200 to 300 yards, as opposed to the smoothbore muskets, which only had a range of about 80 yards. Two guns created during this war made a great impact were the Spencer repeating rifle and the Henry rifle. Both of these rifles were more accurate and could fire more rounds in a shorter amount of time. Commanders found out the hard way that their old field tactics wouldn't work against these new guns. This meant they'd have to find a new way to go about fighting wars. Without rifling, none of these changes would have been made.
It was obvious that warfare was going to change when the weapons started to change. Trench warfare, fighting between two groups with fortified positions and fixed fighting lines, became the new standard. Although trench warfare had already been used for hundreds of years, it was most widely used during World War I. Rifles with more than double the range and power of the typical smoothbore muskets, like the .58 Springfield, were being produced by the thousands. Soldiers were now able to hold the enemy off at a greater distance than ever before. Using the Napoleonic tactics of old, standing in rows and keeping rank, would only result in tremendous casualties. This turned firefights between two opposing groups into long, drawn-out encounters, often with heavy losses.
The conflict in Vietnam was looked at negatively because of the public protests it faced at the time. There were too many casualties on our side, so they needed snipers to help support infantry defend positions and to gather intelligence about enemy forces. Many different sniper rifles were used at the time. The M21 was accurate up to 750 yards. It was the primary Army sniper rifle of the Vietnam War and remained standard issue until replaced by the bolt-action M24 sniper weapon system beginning in 1988. Snipers generally fire one shot at a time from bolt-action weapons, which provide greater accuracy and distance. One example of how rifling has greatly influenced our world was the story of Chuck Mahoney. In 16 months as a Marine Corps sniper in Vietnam in 1968 and 1969, he killed 103 of the enemy. Another 216 kills were listed only as probables because it was too risky to take time to search the bodies for weapons and documents. Near a base outside Da Nang, he caught a platoon of North Vietnamese Army regulars crossing a stream. He was able to kill 16 by headshot with an M14. None of this would have been possible without rifling.
The Barrett 50 caliber sniper rifle is a semi-automatic rifle and can be classified as the most devastating weapon of the sniper class. Therefore, this rifle can go several more rounds than an ordinary sniper rifle. The average number of bullets in a clip is 10. It can go 10 rounds in under 10 seconds. The 50 cal is said to have a manageable recoil. The muzzle brake and its weight seems to help reduce the recoil. Its maximum effective range is about 2,000 yards. The Barrett M107 50 caliber's accuracy is 3 minutes of angle. It also fires one of the biggest bullets in the world. The bullets used for the 50 cal are bullets that are normally used for machine guns. These 50 caliber bullets traveling at high velocity can penetrate any armor. It is said that there is no type of armor that the Barrett 50 cal could not penetrate. This type of weapon had other effects on humans besides separating body parts or blowing holes in people. In battle, this weapon started to demoralize enemy soldiers. They did not know when or where they would get hit, which caused them to become paranoid. The impression left by the Barrett 50 cal on soldiers was that you did not want to run into one of these rifles. They could take out machine gun positions, light trucks, motor crews, or armored personnel carriers at least a mile away. They could hit heavy and hard before the enemies knew what was going on. In other words, it was the element of surprise.
So as you can see, rifling greatly affected many wars. It not only affected that, but it also deeply changed the weapon industry. From not knowing whether you'd hit your target because your weapon wasn't accurate, to being able to fire a weapon from a mile away and scoring a direct hit, rifling is truly a revolution.